are. It is a Wednesday evening for me. I don't know what it is for you out there, but I'm late into a Wednesday. Both of the kids are in bed at the moment. Partner is upstairs. Might be playing some Baldur's Gate 3, not sure. And I'm looking again at the biggest project I've undertaken in this game at my life. Hello there, Elephant Puppet. I'm doing much better than I have in the past few days. I was kind of sick, like some cold or flu or man flu, who knows. But I'm doing better. That's why I sneakily postponed yesterday's stream to today. I also have no idea what I'm trying to achieve today. All I know is that what you're looking at right now is kind of wrong. And it doesn't mean as much to you as it does to me. But this station needs to be here. Because the White Palace had 5 panels over here and then 1.5 over here. That's what I saw when I checked my recordings. So I already have to start by doing something which I'm not really skilled at, and that is editing a track in Planet Zoo. Because as you see, when you start editing it, you end up here, but I need to go all the way over here, and I think click this, and I think I have to delete this, and this as well, right? And let's try and see if we can extend the station. And then remove the other half of it, if you know what I mean. Can I now take this part? There we go again. Can we now take this part of this station and make it shorter? I don't think we can. Actually, what I just did serves my purpose, nonetheless. All I needed is for the paths to be over here. If we now place the entrance and the exit here, that is much better. This serves the first purpose much better of what we're trying to achieve here. Now, the inside of the White Palace was, if I recall, an absolute mess. I did not decorate it because I had hoped to decorate the inside of this palace, but very quickly it became apparent that it was an impossibility. So I just hid away the entire inside of it. And that is what we're going to do. We're going to try and hide all of the paths in here and just make sure that you cannot see them. So, yep, station 41. We'll take a queue. We're also going to be adding a path to the... What is the whitest path in the game? I've answered that question before. This needs to be the very... Hang on, no, that's not what I'm doing. Oops, go away you. Oh no, the path thing is fighting with me. Also, no. Doesn't really matter what I do here, I'll be honest. All I want is for this path to now find its way to this path. What is its width? I recall now that I'm doing this again how much of a mess it was under the hood. So this is probably not a very inspiring stream to be watching, just me struggling with pathing. But to be honest, isn't every Palantzu stream watching someone struggle with pathing? See, that's not what I want at all. How are we going to do this? This is going to be very ugly, I warn you. I don't know what I'm doing. The point is, you don't need to see any of this. All of this will be hidden behind a facade. That is the goal. You will not be seeing any of this ugly, terrible pathing. The goal is for me to now start covering this up. The first step is we're going to be grabbing some faux rocks. Like so. We're going to be coloring them stark white, the whitest of the white. And we're going to be doing what I did last time, and that is just building a little bit of a layer here. Make sure it's randomized a little. This just allows us to sink in any construction pieces without really having to worry about the correct shape and size of it. We will be grabbing a plaster wall right over here. Also be coloring it the whitest of the white. And then at the farthest that this path extends, which is, I'm going to see. Okay, what about this? This seems like a good... Yep. Let's take this and then do what we did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks... Actually, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to make the palace bigger. It was a thing I was kind of worrying about, like, should I keep it exactly the way I did the first time around? And I've realized at this point, I'm going to change parts of it. I'm going to change aspects of this palace. Make it bigger. Kind of glad that this sort of checks out, but now I've run into an issue, and that is that I want this path to be wider. Also want, oops, this entrance to be wider. Like, it should be 8 meters in width, to be honest. So let's see if we can just move these again to right over here. Take these two and move them right over here. That is it. That is the width and scale of the entrance. Now, since we've changed the shape of the White Palace, we'll have to change a lot about how I build it. But I'm going to get the basics down of what I did the first time around, and that is take some, if I look at it, take some plaster trim, and then some mosaics. Alright, I have paused my off-screen footage. I'm going to go back and look at it now and then. But I'm just going to be doing that. Where is it? plaster trim segment. What's it called? Segment? It's called segment. Make that all white. Alright, that's all white. And let's divide this one over here. Let's continue this pattern at the other side. Okay, I know this is a riveting gameplay, isn't it? As I've discussed before, streaming this is not necessarily done for you, it's done for me. It's a way for me to fight procrastination with an audience, right? It's sort of my job as well. My real-life profession is a teacher, and if there's one thing you cannot do as a teacher, at least when it comes to, you know, the teaching part, is you cannot just stop teaching for a while and sit there in the room and just do something else. That is not possible. You can't procrastinate the teaching aspect of the job. So I think I chose a very good job for myself when it comes to that. Sadly, of course, there are other aspects of the teaching job that you can absolutely procrastinate on. And I am guilty of that. I will not lie. I am guilty. Right, then we took the plaster column. No, shouldn't be doing that in the nature tab. If I do sound like I have a cold, that is because I do have a cold. You can absolutely remind me to go blow my nose now and then. Alright, first we color this, of course, mostly white with some black detailing. Yes. Let's flip this one the whole way around. Put it here. And repeat here. These columns will become an important building block for the palace later on. It becomes the supports for these paths. It becomes the barrier for the rhinos over here. I believe I even made them the barrier for the rhinos in the river. And of course, whenever you see me making something white with a little bit of black, the other palace will be black with a little bit of white, because, you know, if you're talking about my palaces, it don't matter if you're black or white. As a great wise poet once said. Alright, the next step is to decorate these walls. I'm just going to do this, guys, exactly the way I did it the first time around. So you'll have to bear with me. I'm just going to do what I did the first time around. So that means I'm going to continue the building this wall first. Does that match up? Does that it's actually quite perfect. Alright, awesome. So we're just going to be doing this whole construction. I know it doesn't really mean a lot to you when I say this is what I did last time. Part of me always debated whether or not I should just release the video of, you know, the previous build of these palaces, just so you guys knew what I was talking about. But it would be a lot of editing for something that doesn't exist anymore, and I'm not sure if that is a wise decision. You know, it could be a cool thing to compare the old and the new, but to be honest, at this point I don't have the time for that. Maybe later on in the future that is something I would show you, but right now I'm just happy to be building again here at the palace. Right, now for the decoration of the exterior wall, we are mostly going to be working with the mosaics from the Africa pack and the stained timber decorations from the tropical pack, in fact. Although they aren't necessarily, you know, African. I don't think they're called mosaic, they're called tiles, right? There we go. As for the pattern, it doesn't really matter, I just need the biggest ones. And we're going to be turning them mostly white with just a hint of black. And that is pretty much the... Oh, that's ugly. I don't like that. I'm gonna have to push this whole wall back. Or not. Is it the same over here? I'm already seeing discrepancies in... Oh man. Already some slight errors in the build here. That is honestly the Yelbu way. I tend to have all these little flaws in my construction. Drives my girlfriend mad because she had a little plant soup career of her own, not on YouTube mind you, but playing it, and she is very good at buildings. She has a lot of training, in fact. She studied conservation and restoration of the arts in paintings, but she learned a lot about architecture, so she just has this vision about architecture that I simply do not have. So, and also she learned faster the methods in Planet Zoo than I did. So all of the stuff about grouping and symmetry was and is still kind of lost on me. So her watching me build was often a source of frustration. Like, why aren't you grouping these things? And you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. It's just the chaos in me. This whole zoo is pretty much a testament to the chaos in me. There was no planning. Well, except for the very beginning. But as far as the guest experience goes, there is no planning in this zoo. You walk in and you are left to your own devices. Like, figure it out, man. You wanna see this part of the zoo? Well, you better make sure you get there, because like if you walk in and you, for example, go here to see this, and you're over here and you want to see this, well, you either have to, you know, go backtracking or have to go like this, and then when you're here, well, you either return or return here. So as far as the guest experience goes, this is always a mess. But let me actually focus for once on what I'm doing. Let's grab these mosaics and copy them over here. And then these middle two, there used to be 3, I see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, I see what I did. I need to divide. Hang on, I can fix this. Actually, no. Let's just try not to get lost too much in the details. I think we can recreate what we were doing without the exact details of before. Although, it's kind of based around the size of this item. How do I make sure it actually works out in terms of symmetry? I'll find a way around it. You know what, guys? I've decided just at this exact moment that I don't need to recreate the palaces exactly as they were. I need to capture the essence of them. No, that's not a one. This. Why does this look? I think I made this black and everything else white. That was it. That was it. Okay. I'm going to recapture the essence of these palaces. But I'm also going to be strong and brave and accept that they simply won't be the same as before. It's something I have to accept. Because already I'm doing something different than the original plan, but I think, you know, I can work with it. Let's see, how can I fill in these gaps? That's not it. You can just do this and fill it up, I guess. This is something I hate about the game. Why does it flip when I drag this? It goes like this. When I grab this, it goes like this. And then you grab these two, and it goes like this. I don't know what's going on. You see, that's where my girlfriend's expertise comes in. It looks off-center. This one does. No, both of them do. You're right. They both look off-center. Ah, that is because this line isn't the center. And I thought it was. This... I think this... Why does it... I hate this. No. I don't understand this aspect of the game. I'm already struggling. But hey. All right. So what I did was I see. I just finished that and added some windows, Indian theme windows, in fact. But before we do that, I want to fill in this space a little bit. And what is a piece we could use? What is some more? Is there actually a tile set different from what I've been using? Not really. Is there something to hang on the wall, or am I just going to be using this? Let us be using this. Over here. Over here. Hang on. Now it looks off center again, doesn't it? This is not this one. This is my brain struggling. This is just isn't as big as this. There's just more room here than here. I did something wrong. Is it a big problem though? Is it really a big problem though? I think it isn't. Now we're going to be taking the Indian like, what are they called? Balcony window thingies. Bay windows. There we go. And we'll take the flat ones at the edge and the more protruding ones. So, and when I say flat ones, I mean these ones. And we'll be coloring them. What do you think? We'll be coloring them white. There we go. Right over here. Right over here. And then we're going to be taking... Was it this one? I think it was this one. No, actually, it wasn't. It was this one. Maybe this one fits better this time around. La la la, let's go. If this looks rough at any time, guys, believe me, I know. Remember, I spent around, 14 hours working on these two buildings. And it was a lot of going to that corner and thinking, oh, that would be nice. And then seeing this corner and thinking, oh, I should add this. And then seeing this wall and thinking, oh, I should add this. So it will not look finished until it's finished, pretty much. All right. Yeah, it's probably not worth it. It isn't worth it. That's the philosophy in me building all of my buildings. Like, I think I'm doing it correctly, and then I just notice immediately, like, hey, this actually is not symmetrical at all. Okay, the next step, we'll be adding mosaics there, and than the golden detailing and the drapery. Alright, I remember again. Now, one detail needs to be adjusted. We'll be grabbing these, all of these, and just dragging them to the other wall. That's already a worrying sign. You see, guys? Now I discover that my walls aren't even. Or whatever it means that I just did. And now this is a mess. The tiresome life of a Planet Zoo player. And now the patterns don't match up. I should title this stream differently. I'm thinking certain thoughts in my mind about this, but alright. Back to Indonesian. This is an important part of the Golden Palace. At this point, I'm just going to freely add this golden detailing to the front of the palace, wherever it feels appropriate. Really, that is the clue here. Wherever you look and you think, hey, this might need some golden detailing, yep, that's where we put some golden detailing. That's also sort of how I choose my clothes when I'm in a clothes store. There was this period in between, I would say 2009 and 2012, where all of the clothes stores here in Belgium started selling clothes that I liked, and I sort of assembled my entire wardrobe then. And now whenever you enter a clothes store here, it's just gray and blue and boring, disappointing, you know. And I know there's a whole wealth of awesome colorful menswear online, but something about shopping for clothes online without trying them on doesn't, it's not my style. I know you can find great deals there, but you know, it's the millennial in me, I guess. I think for a lot of people it is the absolute, absolute basis of how they purchase their clothing. Is that too much? Let's just leave those for now. Because if you look at the palace like this already, you see it taking shape in a nice way. You see these golden details shine in the sun. Just going to follow my heart and just be adding a couple more. Like, what do you say? What does this feel like to us? Does this feel like anything? It doesn't really, so let's leave it. I'm actually quite pleased with myself, guys. I was so afraid that I could not recapture the spirit of the original Dueling Palaces, but now that I've begun doing it, I already find myself completely changing the design, and I don't mind, because it's going to be a loose interpretation of, and it will never be yeah, you're also into colorful outfits. There you go. I have found though that the children's department often offers pretty cool clothes for people who are not very big, which I am not. Not that I have not bought it, but I always go there and go like, I would wear this. But I don't really need clothes, to be honest. I don't really need clothes at this point. I just have them already. I have all the ones I need. I don't know what I did with this wall. I think we're gonna leave it a bit for now. I think I'm going to ignore this wall for a little bit. Just some golden details and then I will move on. Just wherever it feels nice, we'll add a golden flower. Do, 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 do. There we go. Ooh, these are nice. Why did I not see these the first time I was... Those are cool. How do you use them? What is the way you use this? How do you use this object? Alright, let's go. Let's ignore that wall for now, as I said I would. And see what the palace will look like now. It looks like I will say I based this palace sort of on pictures I had seen of palaces in Iran. I always forgot how to say that country's name. I will have to offend you there. I think it was called the Golezal or Golezal Palace, and parts of this design, if you could call it that, was based on that particular place. Hang on. What's going on here? Now I am getting worried. These walls are... Oh no. You see what I mean? I placed double walls. I mismatched them. You know that sound? That's the sound of Yelbu having to reconcile with himself. That's just the way he is. That's just the way I am. We'll have to deal with it. A genius I am not. There. You can barely even notice it from here. Now we add a big old gate in this wall. And we construct the gate out of 4 African doors. From the Africa pack. There we go. We'll just take this, and I believe we just did this. Or did we? No, it was just an all-white door. That works. sort of the idea of an arch around it. Like so. This game really gets on my nerves sometimes. I know it's me. I know I'm the problem. It's me. But I just don't understand why the axis sometimes switches up from what I need into literally the opposite of what I need. I don't know why. I don't understand it. Yeah, it is terrible. It's just, let me show you something, right? This whole zoo, this whole thing is a mess. You don't see it, but if you zoom in on the buildings, this building is the worst of all. It's empty at this moment, but I haven't touched this roof, or a lack thereof, in perhaps 6 months, because I don't know how to add a roof to this. So I'm just not finishing this roof, and I've just built this entire part of this zoo pretty much instead of finishing this roof. That's what procrastination does to you. If there's just one thing that you have to do, yeah, let's call it artisanal, yeah, let's call it it's charming. But if there's a big thing you have to do, you'd rather do all sorts of little things sort of around it, just so you don't have to do the big thing. That's not what I did last time. What did I do last time? What is this I'm adding to it? Oh, it is. It's plaster. But it's thinner. It's this. It's this. Alright, there we go. Plaster trim. Sink it in there a bit. Take it, flip it. Whoops, there we go. Et voilà. Hang on. That's ugly. And I know why it's ugly. Because I did this. This is what it needs to be. And now it's ugly again. What? Actually, it looked like this. I just saw in the... It looked like this. We can fix it. We can fix it. Maybe add some gold to distract you. Like, oh, look at the ugly part. Just look at the gold. Why don't we add some random gold stuff to this? There you go. If I've learned anything from playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, is throwing gold at your problems. Sometimes is enough. Okay. Excuse me, dear friends, I need to go blow my nose, as I said in the beginning of the stream, because I'm starting to sound really pathetic. I'll be back in a minute.
Let me just turn the camera to a habitat somewhere. Let's look at the cheetahs with the safari there in the background, and I'll be right back. I hope you actually got to see some cheetahs. I think I see one over here. There are our two cheetahs. If you didn't catch last stream, we finally, and I do mean finally, fixed the bug that was plaguing our giraffes and zebras over here, in that they ran over to the shelter entrance and then just stood there until they, starved. And we fixed it by just removing their access to the shelter altogether. It's not an elegant fix, but it works. But I have noticed that a lot of the problems in the game start to arise when traversable terrain is too complicated for the tool to display it. If there's pathing inside your habitat, or a lot of pieces, sometimes your animals just decide to give up. Also, the sight line is going to be amazing from here. Standing here and you can see the cheetahs and them over there, and you could potentially see them over there, and then that white palace. That is amazing. And then you say goodbye to the cheetahs, and then you get this very exclusive restaurant, which I imagine is a very expensive place, because you can sit here and get a view of the cheetahs and the zebras and then this habitat, although no one is home at the moment. And then at the back, really, really cool. I'm really pleased with this side of the safari at this point. Although I will say that the first habitat I built in the safari still is the best one. But this is also really fun. But what I mean is that this habitat just is It is the best. And I think, now that I look at it, is because of the mixture of the drin grass and the buffalo grass, which is something I might need to be doing again. But it just, the color of this is just beautiful. And I see that I haven't really... I've kind of been doing that in the other habitats, but not to this extent. So this grass just looks... it's just beautiful. This is so nice. Anyway, enough glazing of the self. Let's go back to the palaces. That is what I came here to do. Yeah. In past Yelbu, proceeded to add what looks like... What is it? How big is the wall I added to it? Wow, I did a lot of complicated stuff actually. Okay, I built a wall around the station, that's fair, and then took the 2-meter wall. I see. Okay, I see what I did. I'm going to try and reconstruct it. Okay, this is hopefully not going to prove too much of a challenge to my tired brain. This station is way too long. I made this palace almost twice as big as it was the previous time. I'm doing a bit of overkill for sure. But hey, I'm committing to it. That's just the way it is now. The palace is now twice as big as it was the first time around, which will also mean that I might have to build the second palace bigger, because, you know, you can't call them the dueling palaces if one palace is clearly the winner. The goal is obviously for them both to have an... That's ugly, I know, but that's not our focus at this point. Now, this wall is 4 meters. And let's just say... let's do it differently from last time and end it here. You'll see what I'm doing. Actually, no. That path prevents us from doing this. Let's just say I want it here. Let's mix it up. You don't quite know what I'm doing. I understand. What we're doing is sort of adding a... I don't know how you call it, an alcove, like the opposite of a balcony. I don't know how to call it. It's sort of a hole in the building. Do it like this. Right. Just sorry guys, I'm just looking at another screen. Let's take the plaster floor quickly, just to make sense of all this, as they say. I know what I'm doing. It might not seem like that all the time, but I know what I'm doing. I just have to calculate some stuff in my brain because the dimensions are different from last time. The building is not the same size as it was the last time. But we'll make it work. We'll just adjust. We will adapt. We'll just have to find a new look for this. Nope, that's not correct. Let us immediately cancel what I did right here, because that's not what I did. That's not what it's supposed to look like. Again, I know how chaotic this might seem. That is because it is. I feel like I've explained before in a video, you know, and I really sincerely mean that the importance of Planet Zoo to me is because, you know, it is rare for me to truly find this level of peace and quiet in a video game. But Planet Zoo allows me to really enable or, you know, activate a part in my brain that needs peace and quiet sometimes. So that's nice. Then I didn't do a very good job of explaining that, I feel, but if you have any experience with ADHD yourself, then perhaps it does make a bit more sense. I spend a lot of time sort of trapped in my brain, and doing difficult things is difficult for everyone, but doing simple things is also difficult for me. And I don't want to, you know, I don't want to garner your sympathy with that for anything, but that's just the truth of my particular affliction, is that even simple tasks can be quite challenging. And I find that doing simple tasks or complicated tasks with people watching is very challenging for me as well. But Planet Zoo allows me to hyper-focus on a personal interest, which means I enjoy the simple tasks. And enjoyment is key for a person like me, because it means motivation. The sad thing about it is that chores don't motivate me. They are important, and I'm very sad if I haven't done the dishes or if I haven't cleaned the house. And you would think that would motivate me, but it doesn't really. This is ugly, we'll have to fix this. I don't know what I'm saying really. I'm sort of rambling on. It's late. I have 2 children. Who knows what I'm saying? Maybe you, somewhere out there, also had a busy day, or you're having a busy week, and maybe you can understand sometimes you just need to talk into the void. say some random things to someone. All of my life I've been what you would call a yapper. All of my life I've been someone who talks a lot, makes a lot of jokes when I'm nervous. Sort of hiding my stress behind the jokes. You know, if you followed Friends, I think I'm most like Chandler in the sense that I have a lot of opinions, and I'm probably, you know, I'm a sensitive person. But I make jokes too often, I think. Sometimes makes me wonder. If people view me as a jokester only. I don't know. Wow, I really am rambling on. I'm getting deep into personal Yelvin lore. Perhaps I shouldn't. Who's to say? Alright. I know it's a bit ugly, but I want this whole thing golden trimmed. Okay. I'm going to have to think about the future of the palace, because I've changed it considerably. But again, I'm choosing to stick with it. Alright, then we take the African fence and the black columns. That's fine. What were those columns again? Were they the Indian pillars? I think they were, yep. But first let's take the African fence. This one. Just adding it here. And here. And here. And then finally here. Anyone catch some good movies lately? Me and my partner, we stopped being movie people a while ago, and especially shows. We don't watch shows, and that's not for any reason really. Not like we have something against shows, but we just have, you know, hobbies that demand our time in a different sense. I have, you know, gaming is a huge hobby, but we're both huge enthusiasts of TTRPGs. So we usually, when we're in front of the TV, we're watching people playing role-playing games. And that is a time sink, let me tell you. So we often don't get around to watching shows at all. We did have a little bit of a project going with one movie a week, but it sort of flopped. But we saw the latest Indiana Jones movie. I don't know if you know about it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, I think it was called. And it was a ridiculous movie. As my partner said, it's like in the think tank before the movie, they just said yes to everything. Like every idea that was proposed, they went, yes, we'll do it. Like everything happened in the movie, every time, to everyone. And everyone was always everywhere. And they always arrived everywhere together with everyone else, and then they did everything. Right? If you haven't seen a movie, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that movie was just ridiculous from start to finish. And I just sort of had the feeling while watching it, like, there's no way this movie made was a commercial success or critical success, and it wasn't. It was kind of a huge flop, and I can see why. But we had fun. You saw Sinners. A lot of people have been recommending Sinners to me. I might need to see it then. A lot of people have been talking about it. Okay, what did I do next? Just more of this. That's what I did next. Even though you can barely see it. Yeah. A lot of people have been recommending Sinners to me, and I think one thing I'm really excited about, to be honest, is it being an original movie with a diverse cast. Because as much as I will always advocate and fight for and support diversity in media, which is very important, I'm a bit tired, for different reasons than some people, of the sort of the forced diversity in remakes. Like, ooh, we'll just do it differently this time, and we'll cast, and then you make a lot of people upset, and a lot of companies and movie companies just do that to get attention. Let's be real. They do it to get publicity, to get tweets going, to get people watching their trailers. And because even negative tweets are tweets, right? And then people hear about your movie. It's not, what's the word? It's not sincere. The diversity there, it is there. Your cast is now more diverse than, when this movie was first made, for example. And that is awesome, but it's not sincere. You're not sincerely doing it for those people. Right? As someone who is a white European, I've seen myself in movies and video games for all of my life. If I played the video game in the 90s, it was me. Not literally, but if I watched the movie, the main character was me. So I don't feel that need. It is just something I theorize about. Like, I imagine why other people feel that need. But I think I'm going to have to come full circle here, and that is, I really support diversity, but I also support original ideas in Hollywood, where diversity in cast is sincere and not part of some publicity campaign or quick cash grab. Not that I get angry when for example, in the new Harry Potter remakes thingy that they're doing with HBO, they've cast a person of color for Severus Snape, and I'm not upset or angry at this. I'm just like, of course they did, and I'm like, who really needs this? Like, make another movie, a new movie. I don't know. I hope someone out there agrees. I've had very impassioned moments with this. A lot of the students that I teach, that I have taught over the years, have been students with very different backgrounds from mine. We have a very rich culture of migrants here in Belgium. So I've had classes very multinational, and I've really learned a lot in dealing with them. But there's also been times where I've had to explain to the other students in those classrooms, like, there's problems that you guys will never have, purely based on where you were born, what your face looks like, and what your name is, pretty much. And then I just address those students in the room that do have those names and those faces. And you know, they have a different life from us. They turn on the TV and they probably are very impressed when there's someone like them on the TV. And that is something that I've never experienced. I've never had to look for me in the media, because I'm all over the media. And obviously, that's, when you live in Europe, it's still the majority of people that you're looking at, but anyway, I'm rambling a lot about maybe a bit of a sensitive subject. I don't think you guys came here for the lecturing on diversity, and maybe it was a bad idea to speak about it, but I hope it made some sense. Now, that thingy in the middle here needs to be addressed, and I have just the solution for it. We're going to be creating a double layer here in black, actually. Then go grab the plaster again and the walls. Change the grid size. Go to walls. And let's start with this one. The reason I'm coloring this black is because if you look at it from the distance, it will look like the interior of a building and not, it won't look as flat. That's pretty much the idea there. Let's make sure we have some different shapes going on. Actually, no. I'm already changing my mind. We need an arch here. This one. And then we're grabbing this one. Right. And then we need some big ol' golden detailing. Oh, it's not called gold. Trim? Not quite trim. Just for future reference, it's called corner and flower. Okay. Sort of try and get this in the middle here, sort of. And I think if you're over here, you don't. Who am I kidding? Obviously, I have to look at the building from over here. You can barely see it, but whatever. It's the thought that counts. Let me do a smart thing and save. I will say, guys, inspiration has hit me sort of for Terra Encantada. And it came in the form of the trailer for the Planet Zoo Wetlands DLC, where they, through some trickery, had like a wooden walkway over water looking thing, over like a swamp. And I think if I start building that, like a swamp environment, the rest is going to come quickly. So now you know. Whew. I've already been streaming for a while. What's next?
Liftoff of mission 41B, the first flight of the orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Ah, yes, the drapery. How could I forget? How could I forget? I was hanging these things off of the golden flowers. I forgot about it. That's why something felt missing. Okay, and then I see I also added. Right, I see it now. I see the vision. I'm a bit sad. I changed the original design a bit too much. I'll make up for it, but I think I'm going to have to do a lot of planning off screen for the rest of the palace. And I usually say, you know, off screen. That's not what I mean. I mean off stream. Just have a bit of a think, you could say. And then I need a bigger. I believe there is actually bigger drapes. What am I looking for? These? Just in white? I just remembered something. A particular piece that I added to... But where is it? Like the ornament. arch. Is it in props? Centerpieces? Is it called arch? This one. Also a very important part of this palace, this arch. There we go. Whew. Dear friends, I've become a bit tired. I think I'm going to end the stream right now and just take a long hard look at the rest of the palace and try and reconcile the big changes that I've made to the size with the original design. And next time you see me, which is probably, you know, later this week, you'll see me with a fresh new look on the palace, because it's going to take a lot more time than this, because a lot of it needs to change. And then we need to make damn sure that the other palace also grows in size, because I've made this thing almost twice as big as it used to, and we have to absolutely make sure that the other palace also is, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you know. So yeah, we'll have to do some changes, but it's like what many people on the Discords told me is that I could rebuild it bigger and better than before, and ain't that the truth? Anyway, thank you for stopping by. If you watch this later on, thank you for watching, taking the time to follow along with my rambling. I hope I didn't scare you off with some of the weird political rambling somewhere in there. But I'll see you all next time around. I'm going to end stream. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day/evening. And I will see you very soon.